What's up, guys? I'm John Borba. I'm here with Brandon Hunt.
Hey.
And we are here to talk about Season 8, Episode 10 of The Walking Dead, entitled The Lost and the Plunderers, which sounds like a young adult novel.
Or a pirate movie.
And hopefully not an adult novel. All right, so in this episode, there was a lot of things that were interesting. Like, I really liked the Jadis storyline.
Yeah.
But our biggest question coming out of this that we're probably going to start with right now is, what does it take to change Rick's mind? Like, his kid is dead, and his kid is like, it's my last dying wish that you just stop being such a
jerk?
A Richard.
A Richard.
And I don't know, like, what it realistically, like, he reads this note that his son writes to his greatest enemy, and it's like, please just make a better world. And his dad's like, nah, but I'm gonna whoop your ass.
I'm gonna kill you, dude. At this point, we've seen the tease, the very beginning of this back half of season 8, where he's on the tree and he goes, my mercy prevails over my wrath, right? He's wounded. I'm guessing, we're gonna get to a spot that Rick realizes that it's maybe not the best of ideas to continue going in this crash course, full bore. I'm mad at you, you're mad at me, let's finish this thing. Because there's too many layers, there's too many intricacies going on between both groups that it can't be that simple. I think Rick thinks it can be that simple because he's just saying the one sentence, I'm going to kill you, but it's just not. Because of all things, Negan is like one of the most complicated people on the show. Because, just in this episode alone, when he learns about Carl's death, you can tell that he's generally sad about it because he really liked Carl.
But in the same way, he's still manipulating that death to capitalize.
Sure.
I agree. I think that there's a lot of layers here. I also think that on some level, Carl is afraid that if his dad opens this door where he realizes, or he thinks that he can just solve his problem with anyone by wiping them out, his dad's gonna lose his humanity.
Well, that's on the other side too. And we see that evidence in this episode when Negan tells Simon not to kill everybody, right? And Simon essentially does in the trash camp, right? And we haven't seen the extenuating circumstances of what that means.
Other than the hamburger maker.
Yeah, right. Tasty. But there's gonna be consequences. Like, I think Simon's gonna bite it because he crossed another line for Negan. He is, I think, potentially worse. Like, he is a worse, more evil character. The more times we see other characters in that group push the limits, the more Negan falls from that end of the spectrum into, like, chaotic neutral, right?
I think we are moving towards potentially Rick picking up the ideal world that Carl wanted, because I think these two characters have something to learn from each other. One of the moments where you start to see Rick lose his humanity is when he walks into Trash Can Land.
Yeah.
And he finds Jadis, and she's alone and surrounded by all these walkers, and he doesn't kill her, but he abandons her and basically shoots his gun up in the air to draw the attention of walkers, kind of near her.
Yeah.
And I think that he's mad, he's angry, he wants revenge, and he has very good reason to because he just lost his son. But at some point, people are going to keep dying, and you have to make a decision about who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Rick needs to do.
Well, I think what that says about both those characters is that they're essentially kind of the same. Like, they are black and white, right? It's easy to spot them out because they're both teetering on the edge of sanity. They're both riding the line of what's right and what's not right. They're both holding on to aspects of being a strong leader and a good person that is very different in both their eyes. You can tell that they both think that they're good people. And when you have that sort of that mirrored version of those two guys, like, that is a standstill right there, right? Like, one of those guys has to give for the other one to lose.
I think the big thing that you see in comparison between Jadis and Rick is that they both are looking out for what they feel is best for their group, and they're both paying the cost for that. Where, you know, though Negan may be the big bad guy of this series, he seems to genuinely be caring about humanity. You know, he seems to, like, he cares about the saviors, but in a sense that he wants to make their example something that he can take out further and further and further to other people. Rick made these agreements and deals with these other communities, but initially it's just to kill Negan. You know, there's not a let's all benefit each other, let's make a better society out of it. And I think that's the thing that Rick needs to learn from Negan, but Negan also needs to learn about what he is killing by doing the things that he is doing.
Right.
I think both of them have this lesson to learn. They learn that lesson in the comics, and I tend to think that that's where the show is going to go, especially being this early in the second half of the season. Rick being like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, and just like beating it into the viewers' heads. This man is going to turn from this rabid, sore, beat-up human being into somebody who's like, we all need to heal together.
Yeah, right. I think I think the past is going to come back for Rick in a big way, because the moments when they're being chased by the cannibals, remember that, and they kill all the cannibals in the church, and that's sort of the first time, I guess you could call it like Breaking Bad, but it's sort of the first moment when Rick sort of sets that that mood of like, you know what, screw this, let's just kill them all, right? And it sort of messes with everybody. But at this point, he's too deep in that, and he rides the line. He keeps coming back from that low point of being that evil and that vengeful to trying to be a good person again. And you can tell that Negan's sort of doing the same thing. And I think what's eventually going to happen is that, you know, even though we think there may be that battle, Rick's going to try, he's going to see the light again and try and be good for his son. So I think the course of action for Rick is that I have to honor my son now, because otherwise what was any of this for?
Yeah.
And I need to be a good person.
I think he also has to realize that he has another kid that he has to take care of as well. So what do you guys think? Do you think Rick can keep his promise to Carl? Do you think Rick can change it and forgive everyone? You know, the biggest question out of this episode is, what is it going to take to change Rick's mind? Let us know in the comments below. And for everything else Walking Dead, stick with IGN.